kind of the same. I mean, a much different game, I would think, but kind of the same story about that, 10-minute stretch in the first half. Is that?
Yeah. Well, I thought it was a very similar game. Very similar. I thought we just did a little better job. At the end of that first half, we did a better job. We won the last 4 minutes of that half. And I thought it put us in the right position going into halftime, and we showed that coming out of halftime. What I'm, no one's happy with the result, obviously. That's part of this process. But, I know I'm focused on the process, and what I've seen from our guys is 3 straight games. And maybe 3 3/4. Maybe that first game against Vegas too. I've seen what I need to see and what we need to see, 4 straight times, putting ourselves playing in a way where we're playing, where I recognize what we're doing. It doesn't mean we're playing perfect. It doesn't mean we don't have our bad times. But I recognize what we're doing. I'm seeing our guys staying with it and recognizing what they're doing, and so are they. And the result has been we've put ourselves in position to win these games. That's the first part of that process, and we have not done that consistently this year. Now it's been a different year, obviously, because I don't know how many games we've played, but 80% of them are league games. You know what I mean? So 90% or 80% are the most challenging part of our schedule. Normally in a normal year, our schedule, and this year we haven't put ourselves in position to win every game. That's been part of this process. So in February, I'm watching where we're doing that, and I recognize it, and our guys recognize it. And now, the unfortunate part is, we're not happy with the result. But we keep doing that over and over again. Well, that's how you learn how to change the result, and that's really what this process is about for us. It's learning what playing to win means, what it requires from you every day in practice, what it requires every game, what those habits are. And when you exhibit those habits game after game after game, then you learn how to teach yourselves how to take that next step to get the result, to produce the result that we all want. So I'm not, like I told our guys, there's a big difference between being discouraged and disappointment. And I've been disappointed in the result. I've been encouraged by our work. I've been encouraged by how we're coming to work, and then how we're seeing that come out on the court. So I know for me, that's what we're going to stay with, because over time, you do that over and over again. That's when the guys learn how to produce the result they want, and we're going to stay focused on that right now.
How's Glenn McClintock?
I haven't spoken with our trainer yet, so I'm not exactly sure. Hopefully he's okay. He came back out, sat on the bench, so I'd like to think that it's not overly serious, but I'm sure Woody will let me know later on. And like I said, hopefully he's okay, so that we can sort of maintain the group, again, the whole group that we've gotten here and seems to have given us a lift in the right direction. I'd like to be able to maintain that here, even though we might not know exactly what our schedule is going to be going forward.
Yeah. Now, well, first of all, back to that. Had AJ committed 2 more fouls, who was going to run the point?
Well, I'm glad I didn't have to, go through that process, Brent.
And was the lineup solely senior day related, or because Glenn didn't come in till I think like the 8-minute mark? So.
Yeah. It was driven by that, and then, to be honest with you, what I was trying to do, and it happened that way because AJ picked up a second foul, and Glenn went in for him. But I actually was trying to see if there was a way by doing this besides, Keaton being a senior, but would that be a way to help me get AJ a blow? It's at a certain time, having Glenn, okay, give AJ a blow, Glenn. And maybe there's a time in the game where, it's makes sense to do that, whereas if Glenn's in there already, it's hard for me to pull AJ, especially in these 2 games. To your last question, a lot of responsibility on him. He did a really good job handling it, and then we did a good job from about the last 4 minutes of the half on of handling that. We only had 3 turnovers, I think, the last 24 minutes of the game. So, again, the recipe is there. We take care of the ball. We get good shots. We did a really good job on their threes today. We do that. It gives us a chance to win. Obviously, their size showed up today. Those 2 guys are, I don't know, they're the same size as Utah State, those 2 guys. So we did we did a decent job on them. And if we have to play them again, which is possible, then, these 2 games are going to be really helpful to us.
So, Joe, last 8 minutes of the game, you guys couldn't find the basket field goal wise. Was it more of their offensive production, or was it their defense that kind of shut you down in the end?
I mean, I think, we're still in the stages of really, again, being in games where the games are on the line. They're there to be won in the last 6 minutes, 5 minutes and below. They're 1-possession games or 2-possession games, and I think that's learned behavior because, whatever their defensive plan is, there's always an uptick. There's always an uptick at those junctures when the game's on the line, and we're still in the process of, like I said, to answer Brent's question of when you put yourself in game after game after game after game, then you teach yourself how you're going to execute down the stretch. You know what I mean? And you already know what you're going to do. That's like your habit, and those aren't really our habits yet. And we all know, like, those kinds of habits, good habits, they're hard to build. They require time, and bad habits are easy to have, and boy, do you keep them forever. And we've made a lot of progress in that regard, but I do know we're going through that experience in these 3 games. A little uptick, the intensity goes up. You got to know how to respond to that. And I still thought we did some, okay things, but to your point, you got to give them credit if they made that. They were going a little big to small. Offense, defense there, where they're going with their big guys on offense. They were coming with their smaller guys defensively to switch and, do some things that can bother you. And so you got to give them credit for that and for having the, the ability to do that.
Well, Keaton, first of all, with the senior day being today, was it weird to kind of have that emotion, or did it seem like a real senior day?
It was kind of weird. Because, I really didn't hear anything about it till, after practice yesterday. And, I actually, my dad texted me and was like, is senior day tomorrow? And he was, kind of upset because he wanted to be out here for it, obviously. But, it was still cool that they did the presentation right before the game and stuff. And to get the picture in the corner was pretty cool. So, my parents would have been able to come on the court anyway. So, it felt pretty normal, and then hopefully we have a banquet at the end of the year where we can get together and kind of do it for real.
And now, Coach mentioned there's a difference between, I think he said, disappointment and discouragement, and that he's not discouraged because of the way you guys you're near the surface now. You just haven't broken through. Do you sense that you're getting close?
Yeah, he probably said, we've been playing well, the past 3 games. I think we've been in the last one there at UNLV, maybe even for the first one at UNLV, and then these past 2. And, yeah, like you said, we just got to find a way to – it felt like the game was at 5 to 3 points for a long time in the second half where we couldn't just get past, that 3-point margin. And then we got to, find some way where we can break through that and maybe gain a 1-point lead, 2-point lead, put a little pressure on them instead of us having the pressure of come take the lead.
Where do you think that's going to come from eventually, if it happens? That little bit, that little extra. How do you manufacture it?
We practice every day, just doing our stuff. I think because there's a couple times where we were slow in getting into our stuff on offense, and that kind of hurt us. So we were fighting the shot clock there a couple times. So I think if we just really execute how we practice and make sure we're doing our stuff, I think we can definitely push through at their end. Because there was a chance where we were down 1, I think, and we had a crucial turnover, just not even doing anything really, where we could have had a chance to take the lead. But like I said, we turned it over, and then we would have to be on defense again. So I think if we can get rid of some of those mistakes and then execute how we practice, I think that'll give us that last edge there to get over the hump.
Without a field goal over the last, I think 8 minutes, was that just mostly a product of you were getting fouled a lot? Do you look at it as it wasn't that big a deal because you guys were scoring, or were there some issues there that bothered you?
Like I said about the execution piece, and then yeah, we were getting to the free throw line, and I mean, coach has been emphasizing that like in order to win games, you got to make free throws and do the little things that like will lead you up to winning the game. I think we were like 73%, and last game we were shooting way better because I know earlier on in the year we were struggling from the line, and so I think obviously we were scoring from the free throw line, and then maybe that execution piece there towards the end we can definitely clean that up, and then maybe find a way to get a couple extra baskets there to help push us over the edge.
Okay. And were there any differences on the boards between, 2 days ago and today that might help you leading forward? Because you did rebound a lot better, and you personally had 6, and this was one of the taller teams in the conference.
Yeah, they have like 2, I don't know, I think Robinson and that Mia kid are like 7 foot. So, I mean, obviously that's a challenge for us because our tallest guy is 6'7", 6'8", maybe with Nick. And I think we did a pretty good job because the shots were coming from opposite. And then I know Chris had 6 rebounds too, and he would come in, he'd fly in there from the opposite, a high side, and grab those boards while we were taking out the legs of the big guys. So I think if we keep doing that with these bigger teams, we can definitely capitalize on getting those rebounds.